Last week, I talked about the importance of educating your colleagues on UX best practice and the different educational approaches you should consider. This week, I want to get more specific about the topics to prioritize when building your educational content. Now, I take a very pragmatic approach to this task because otherwise it feels incredibly intimidating. Instead of trying to create a comprehensive UX curriculum covering everything under the sun, I tend to focus on three targeted areas that will give you the biggest impact. The first area I focus on are the errors I see colleagues making when they try and do user experience work themselves. This is crucial because as we democratize UX across the organization, more people will naturally be attempting these activities and making predictable mistakes. For example, one mistake I see constantly is people leaving UX research and testing too late in the project when it's expensive and difficult to make substantial changes. When I spot this pattern, I create educational content about early user research and testing, explaining the benefits and the cost savings that can be made from getting feedback when you can still actually act on it. The second area that I cover are topics which get a lot of pushback and resistance from stakeholders. These are those friction points that can cause your projects to slow down and cause arguments. So, a classic example are colleagues who want to start building without validating that there's a genuine need before they start creating things. By creating educational material around user validation techniques, you can prevent these conflicts from ever happening. The third area is simply the questions you find yourself answering over and over again. Things like, how do I do user research? And how do I run a survey? And what's the difference between user research and usability testing? Keep a running list of these questions, and you can quickly see patterns emerge that are worth turning into educational content. Your educational library should grow and evolve over time. You don't need to put everything in place from day one. Just begin with the topics that come up the most and cause the most arguments or trip people up the most frequently. For user testing specifically, while you'll eventually want to cover everything from eye tracking studies to advanced analytics, start with the quick wins. Focus on simple methods like 5-second tests, first click tests, and analyzing heat maps or session recordings with tools like Hotjar and Clarity. These require minimal time investment beyond the analysis, making them a perfect gateway drug for more robust testing. Content writing is another excellent entry point. Unless you're working exclusively on apps, most digital services are content heavy. And since many people are already creating content that directly impacts the user experience, providing guidance here feels immediate and relevant and useful. If your team needs deeper guidance on that topic, actually, I do offer a website content strategy workshop, which covers everything from information architecture to quality control. Finally, it's also helpful to find a natural entry point that resonates with people when educating. For example, I found stakeholders often want to know how to improve their search engine rankings, which gives you the perfect segue into topics like writing for the web and accessibility. When teaching accessibility, I always emphasize that it's not just about accommodating people with disabilities, it's about helping people with situational or temporary limitations too. Making things accessible improves usability for everyone, regardless of their cognitive and physical abilities. The beauty of this approach is that your educational material feels immediately practical rather than theoretical. People can see the direct connection between what you're teaching and the problems that they're trying to solve. Now, there are no shortage of UX topics that you could cover. The key is to start with what people are actually asking about, what's causing friction on projects, and what you find yourself explaining repeatedly. This ensures your educational material resonates with people and makes a real difference to how they work. So that's it. Next week, we're going to move away from education and look at how to boost our influence across the organization and transform how UX is perceived company-wide, because this is the final piece in the puzzle to becoming a true UX leader.